Hi everyone. Los Angeles never sleeps, but that night, the city felt more restless than usual. The hot, dry summer air brought strong winds that swayed the palm trees lining the streets. In the outskirts of the city, in an old industrial area almost forgotten by time, the sky suddenly turned crimson. A massive fire was consuming an abandoned warehouse. The sirens of fire trucks broke the silence, prompting people to step outside their homes and watch the wild flames dancing in the distance. The warehouse had once been a thriving textile factory in the 1980s, but now it was nothing more than a dumping ground for junk and a shelter for the homeless. That night, the fire consumed more than just a building. It devoured the remnants of a forgotten history. Among the crowd watching from a safe distance stood Eva Sanchez with her camera, a young journalist working for a local news channel. She knew this was her chance to make an impact. Tragedies like this always attract attention, she thought as she snapped photos of the growing inferno. But something was strange. As Eva reviewed the images on her camera, she noticed a dark shadow amidst the fiery chaos. A black, square-shaped structure stood firm, seemingly untouched by the relentless flames. She frowned and zoomed in. "What is that?" she murmured. She redirected her camera toward the warehouse, searching for a clearer angle. And there it was again. Amid the destruction, the structure became more visible. It resembled the Kaaba, the sacred building in Mecca central to the Islamic faith. Its shape was a perfect square, with pitch-black walls that seemed impervious to the raging fire surrounding it. The crowd started to stir. "Hey, look at that!" a man shouted, pointing toward the structure. People began to notice, and whispers of awe and fear spread like wildfire. "Is that some kind of religious symbol?" a woman whispered, her eyes wide with a mix of astonishment and unease. "Why isn't that thing burning?" Eva tried to rationalize what she was seeing. "Maybe it's just a part of the warehouse that hasn't caught fire yet," she told herself. But deep down, her instincts told her otherwise. There was something extraordinary about the scene unfolding before her. One of the firefighters on the scene appeared shaken. "We've sprayed water on that part multiple times, but the flames just won't touch it," he said, his face pale. Eva immediately uploaded one of the photos to her social media account with the caption, "Strange phenomenon in the Los Angeles fire. A mysterious structure appears, untouched by flames. Miracle or coincidence?" The post went viral within minutes. Comments flooded in from around the world. "This is a sign from God," wrote one user. "It's just an optical illusion," countered another. But regardless of the debates, no one could deny one thing. The structure looked like the Kaaba, and it remained standing even as the fire consumed everything around it. That night, Eva decided to stay at the site of the fire until morning. A strange feeling lingered in her chest. She wasn't a religious person, not even close. In fact, she often scoffed at anything remotely spiritual. But the sight of that structure made her feel small, as if something far greater than her understanding was at play. When the fire finally subsided just before dawn, the black structure still stood tall amidst the smoldering ruins. People who had come to the scene looked both bewildered and awestruck. "What exactly are we witnessing?" an elderly man murmured as he clutched a prayer bead in his hand. Eva took another photo, but this time with a different feeling. She knew that what she had witnessed wasn't just a story for the news. It was the beginning of something much bigger, something that might change her life forever. The morning after the fire, the remains of the old warehouse became a spectacle. Hundreds of people flocked to the site. Locals, journalists, and curious passersby who had seen the viral images from the night before. The mysterious black structure that resembled the Kaaba still stood amidst the ashes and rubble, a silent monolith defying explanation. Eva Sanchez, though exhausted from the long night, was still there, her curiosity stronger than her fatigue. She continued to capture the scene with her camera, but her focus began to shift from the structure itself to the people gathered around it. Their faces, full of awe, confusion, and even hope, told a story just as powerful as the fire that had engulfed the warehouse. As the crowd murmured and speculated, a man in his 50s dressed in a simple white robe emerged from the throng. His calm demeanor and gentle smile immediately commanded attention. He was Imam Faisal, a well-respected Islamic scholar in the Los Angeles Muslim community. People instinctively made way for him as he approached the structure. Standing a few feet away from the black monolith, Imam Faisal turned to the crowd. His voice, soft yet firm, carried a calm authority that silenced the murmurs. "This is a reminder," he began, gesturing toward the structure. "The fire destroyed everything around it, but it could not touch this. In Islam, the Kaaba represents unity, faith, and the eternal. What we see here may not be a miracle in the way we imagine, but it is a message. In the face of destruction, some things remain. Faith, hope, and the power to rebuild." His words struck a chord. Some people in the crowd began to tear up, others bowed their heads in silent contemplation. Even Ava, who had always been skeptical of anything spiritual, felt a strange warmth in her chest. The way Imam Faisal spoke made her feel as though the message wasn't just for the crowd, but for her personally. As the Imam stepped back, a young woman emerged from the crowd. Her name was Clara Thompson, a local artist who had witnessed the fire the previous night. She clutched a sketchbook in her hands, her fingers trembling. "I don't know what I saw last night," Clara said, her voice shaking, "but it left me changed. I felt something deep inside me stir, something I can't explain. I've spent my whole life searching for meaning, and for the first time, I feel like I might have found it." She opened her sketchbook to reveal a drawing of the black structure surrounded by flames. The crowd murmured in awe at the intricate detail of her work. Imam Faisal smiled gently and said, "The heart often recognizes the truth before the mind can understand it. Perhaps what you felt is an invitation to seek deeper meaning." The story continued to grow. Within days, the local government announced that they would preserve the black structure instead of demolishing it. They transformed the area into a small park, naming it Unity Park. The park became a sanctuary for people from all walks of life, those seeking peace, understanding, or simply a quiet place to reflect. For Ava, the event marked a turning point. She interviewed dozens of people who had been touched by the phenomenon, from firefighters who claimed they felt an inexplicable presence while battling the flames to skeptics who admitted the experience made them question their beliefs. Ava compiled these stories into a book titled The Shadow in the Flames. The book became a bestseller, but more importantly, it opened conversations about faith, unity, and hope in the modern world. For Clara, the black structure was the beginning of a personal journey. She started learning about Islam, drawn by the symbolism of the Kaaba and the words of Imam Faisal. A year later, she embraced Islam, adopting the name Amina. She credited the night of the fire as the moment that led her to find her spiritual path. The black structure itself became a global symbol of resilience and faith. Pilgrims, tourists, and curious seekers came from all over the world to see it. Muslims saw it as a reminder of God's power, while people of other faiths viewed it as a testament to the enduring human spirit. Months later, Ava returned to Unity Park, no longer as a journalist but as someone seeking clarity. Sitting on a bench facing the black structure, she closed her eyes and allowed the silence to envelop her. For the first time in years, she felt at peace. And so, beneath the bright skies of Los Angeles, the black monolith remained, a silent, immovable reminder that in the face of destruction, hope and faith could still rise from the ashes.